All right, what's going on, everybody? Jake here from Made for the Range. The absolute privilege of being at Callaway Callaway Performance Center, ECPC, here in Carlsbad, California. I'm joined with the wonderful Johnny Thompson. Very excited about this one. Don't pay attention to the height difference at all. It means absolutely nothing. So Opus SP is coming out soon. Within filming of this, it's going to be a little bit, but excited to get our hands on them today. Obviously, you've been doing some stuff with them out on tour and then starting to implement player testing and that kind of thing. So give us a little bit of insight into what's changed with Opus SP, because this was a quicker iteration for you guys over some past wedge product. So I'm interested to see kind of why that iteration needed to happen in your guys' opinions a little bit faster, and then what kind of changes have been made.
So tour intro was at Colonial. Introduced them there. Immediate, into play. It was a very seamless transition in a sense, because the overall shape of the scoring clubs, from sand up, looks very similar to Opus. Not a lot of profile changes there. The big changes is in like the 58 and the 60s when you get into the higher lofts. So SP, the story is spin per degree. So each wedge, every loft that we offer has a very specific CG location and groove package. And the idea is to dial in every spin for every single loft that you would want. Again, we use AI a ton at Callaway. We've got it in the 10X face. We have it in our putters. So we gather data through computers and also through player testing. And so we've taken some of that data to try to implement, with SP, a very specific launch and spin at every single loft that we offer.
So when we got our little overview earlier, he also mentioned that SP could just ironically also stand for speed pocket. Is that what he called it in the middle? So basically the way you guys are kind of doing your progressive CG is, I would say, not the traditional way of just moving internal mass necessarily, but there's actually kind of pockets in construction that you guys can utilize and move around that are almost natural within the construction of the wedge. And the one thing I noticed was that you don't have to create huge, big, meaty top lines to do that in these, which is a really cool way of kind of moving that CG. There is no platinum anymore, right?
Correct.
Like they figure out how to do that naturally.
Platinum was sort of like the intro to the idea of pulling that CG up and get that ball to stay on the face longer. And really, when we get to hitting some pitches, this is a great distance to see what SP can do. So that 20, 30 yard pitch, the idea is to just drop the flight down, crank up the revs, add a new shot to the bag that makes it a lot easier to stop a shot with spin. You lay the face open, you use the bounce, you still have the ability to go high and stop it with height, but with the new SP CG location and the grooves, you're going to find that low, quick stop shot is going to be a lot easier. Cool.
All right, so we're going to treat this as like a micro fit. So whatever, so I would play normally, I would go 60, 56, 50. Open to interpretation on that. But starting with the 60, what's kind of where do you set your baseline grind-wise for players?
So, like you said, we're starting at ground zero. I don't know
I'm giving you basically nothing.
I know nothing about your chipping. So the first thing I want to know is, like, what kind of turf do you play on week in and week out? Like, if you had a consistent piece of ground, what does it look like?
I get nice, Midwestern, kind of soft bent grass usually. So I say I have the benefit of like an incredibly easy lie to hit a wedge shot off of 90% of the time. I will tell you right now, I hate this grass more than any other grass in the game of golf. So you've got a little bit of work cut out for you with this grass, because
it's sticky.
There's going to be a couple chunks. Just stay with me on that, everybody. But I think that'll actually make the grind story really, really cool, because we can kind of go through that. I hit full shots with my wedges a lot, even with the 60. Like I'll rip that thing a lot. But with the 60, it's important to me that I can feel like I can get the one that scoots off the grass with like little to no divot, kind of just like a shave of that top layer of grass. That's the one I like to hit the most, but that's also the one that for me gives me challenges on this grass. So we'll see.
So standard run-of-the-mill chip, from here to here, are we taking a divot or are we pretty thin? Thin as in like shallow, I should have said.
Yes, absolutely. It wouldn't be much of one, no. I would try, like if we were going to the front flag here, I would try to put a little bit loft on it, just because that seems like there's a little bit of room. But if I was going to one just to the left there, I'd probably drive it a little bit more. Like more shaft lean and just kind of stay through the ball.
All right, I got a handful of 60s here. I'm gonna start you at the S grind. Which is, S doesn't, maybe it stands for standard, I don't know. But It is a very, very middle ground grind where you have plenty of bounce in the full radius of the sole. There's not a lot of heel relief, not a lot of toe relief. So if you open the face up, that leading edge comes up a little bit, but it's very, for somebody who gets a little on the steeper side, it becomes pretty forgiving.
Okay.
But let's start here and see where we go.
Just this front one here?
Yeah, let's go this front one there, because again, this is a high spin machine, so I can short side you here right off the bat.
Yeah. So this one I would try to just kind of stay here and just give it a little, like that.
Yeah.
That would be my problem though, like on this shot.
Yeah.
I feel like this one I would have to drive like just over that fringe.
Show me how you would hit it, because that one took off a little bit when we hit it. It was hit maybe a hair early.
Yeah.
It was pretty good action.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I thought that was gonna go down that hill for sure.
It almost came backwards.
7,000 backspin. Off of a 15-yard pitch shot. That was cool. But I would say that was it. Like that probably carried a little bit too far. But I would try to be a little bit more delicate with this, where the face is just a little bit open.
Okay.
And then I try to.
Fine. We add a little bounce.
I try not to flip. You know. Like that was more what I was. Holy spin.
Yeah. So right away,
I didn't get it.
I do not think T and X grind are going to come into play here.
Okay.
Reason why T, very, very, very low bounce.
Yeah.
That's working through this sticky turf that you said. If you get to your course, that bent grass, that it's probably softer than it is firmer, I would imagine you around. I think that could start to dig a little bit too much. It's a pretty sharp leading edge. And then the X grind, just listen to the first few that you hit. It seems like if anything, there's maybe a little bit of an early. So if you have a ton of bounce, that early becomes even earlier, and it kicks it up, and you're going to lose some spin.
Okay.
It'd make it harder to hit that low checker. Do me a favor. Bring into the C.
Okay.
So talking about this shot where you're like, I'm going to open the face a little bit on this.
Yeah.
This is going to keep the leading edge down on the ground, but there's still.
Yeah.
And one thing that people might not realize is the S and the C in the middle of the golf club, the middle of the bounce, they're exactly the same. So if the face is square, you're getting the same amount of bounce. When the face is open though, the 8C is going to sit lower to the ground.
So you can completely negate the thought that I'm about to say.
Yeah.
I did a video at the time of filming this. I did a video last week talking about how I have started to, in a very black and white way, I've started to be really particular about like the number that's associated with the bounce on something. I've started to just not care, because I think that the shape of the sole is so much more. And you get into situations like these where it's like effectively coming in square at the same shot, they're probably gonna do the same thing. Yeah. But it's when you start to maneuver this wedge, I don't care what that 8 is, but I really care about that C.
The C gives you more ability to use face angle. And again, like if you,
the heel sits so much.
You know, you hear a lot of good short game instructors out there talk about getting the shaft up higher. So the S has a lot more forgiveness there in a sense, because there's more bounce out on the toe. Okay. There's the C, you're going to have more versatility for different types of shots. Yeah. Open face, higher hands. But again, if the face is square and you're hitting like a full shot or just a full standard chip, the S and C are very similar. It's just there's more versatility out of a C.
Gotcha. Yeah, because the shot where you get to here and you kind of go toe down, I'd have to be a lot closer to play that shot. Yeah. Oh God, that's number one. It's all right. It's gonna happen. So that felt to me very similar to the swing that I produced with the S, but I was working on a wedge thing yesterday too, and this now gives me confidence that I can go back to my normal, more aggressive speed with that same thing and not worry about it killing me through the ball. That feels super comfortable. You could to be able to go through the ball.
Yeah, so if you open the face on that, you can add some speed and not fear it taking off, exploding on the face because it's going to slide through easier.
Yes. Yeah. Which is, for me, that's very comforting, because between that shot and then my kind of just like shaft lean shot where I stay here, is if I can do both of those things confidently with speed, it makes me feel so much better about whatever I had in my hands. The minute I have to feel babyish with my wedges is when it terrifies me. That's when I get scared.
That's where, like, high bounce, I would be concerned, because if you're a hair early, I know we just hit a little thin shot, but like if you're more early, like heavy, the ball, especially like a firmer ground, it's going to explode off the face with no spin. So all it's going to do is make you a little bit more tentative to like put speed behind it. So there's a fine line though. Like, obviously I could give you the 6T here, which would be like even more lower leading edge to the ground. Like, go ahead and hit that same shot that you just hit where you added some speed.
The leaned one or the face open one?
The face open one, where you stop that one with height. So this is going to slide even more underneath it. So it's finding that.
Yeah, because you can still go even faster now with this one.
Yeah. Now the other side of that is, you take a full swing. Like, how steep are you on a full swing, and then you start that center bounce is a lot lower on the tee grind.
Yeah.
So then it could get a little diggy, but around the greens here, that's kind of what you're working with. Would be, you could probably go max speed on this tee grind, but it's, we need it to be great in other areas.
Yeah.
So I think sticking to the C, S. I didn't like the first couple where I heard the ground before ball. Yeah. And that's.
Yeah. And I live on that razor's edge, man. Like, I don't chunk wedge shots very often. Yeah. It's usually, I got a little too cute with trying to nip the ball, and it turns into a thin shot, which that's the game that I play though. Like, I know that every time I hit a wedge shot, I pretty much have that coming for me.
Because if you open the face on the S grind, it's going to play to a higher bounce. If you open the face on the C, it's going to sit lower. Square face, very, very similar. But you do something nice in your pitching, is you're using the bounce. Like, you're not leading, the leading edge is not going down into the ground. Yeah, I tried. You're using the bounce. It's just as that you open the face on that S, you could hear it start to hit early. Yeah. So it's just finding that right grind for you in your technique.
Yeah, that feels not stress-free. My chipping is not stress-free.
There's no stress-free.
But this feels less stressful than the other ones. So then the X, which I'm not even going to attempt to hit this chip with, but explain the X to us in terms of where that lies, kind of in the bounce category, and then shaping compared to any of the other ones.
So we have an X and a W. W is going to be similar.
Let's steal the W.
Similar shape in a sense that it's symmetrical as the S grind, but a much wider sole. Yeah. So guys that are steep, players that struggle out of bunkers, W and X are phenomenal. Okay. Because you can go down in the sand and go get it and put some speed behind it, and the ball's going to just plop up in the air. Around the greens, if you have any bit of idea of opening the face, you got to have the right technique to match that leading edge getting off the ground. I could hear how early that impact was.
Yeah. Kind of almost. But to the credit of the grind,
it does
did exactly what it's supposed to do. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, hit an X because that's
all right.
The X is like the thin-soled version of the W.
Okay.
It's got a little bit more relief though.
So for the sake of people that are going to ask me from an uneducated standpoint, how can you have something that you would consider a thinner sole in a super high bounce? Obviously, I know the answer to that, but explain that to people.
So they work hand in hand. Like, sole width and bounce, if one goes down, the other's got to come up, and vice versa. So X would be a very narrow sole, but a very, very pitched leading edge chamfer there. Okay. A very pronounced C grind on the X, so you're not only getting just a lot more center bounce, you're getting the heel and toe relief. Yeah. This one, like, if you open the face, you're definitely gonna see the leading edge stay lower to the ground, but when you hit that, you'll feel that back end kick in.
Oh gosh. Well, we gotta try, right? Oh, geez.
And a lot
you
of
can
times,
hear it.
Yeah, a lot of times it makes balls go higher.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because I feel like there's a lot to be said for, a lot of people will go test wedges, they'll start to hit shots, and they see all these differences in spin variables with wedges, and they attribute that somehow to just the wedge itself without paying attention to the delivery of it, right? Like that came in a little high, but wasn't spinning as much as the C grind was,
right?
Because the delivery is so different because of how it's coming off the turf, which you and I can hear.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people that's actually one of the environments where I think an artificial turf mat can actually really help people.
Yeah.
Because it amplifies what the grind can or can't do.
Yeah.
But then they attribute like some sort of spin loss or something to the physical makeup of the wedge, which is the same wedge, just in a different grind, right?
That was good. About as good as you could hit right there.
That's pretty much just without really chunking this one, but you can even see like those last two, I'm actually going down a little bit more too, just because
if you
I'm really trying to make sure it doesn't go.
Yeah, so I think you're a C grind guy.
Cool.
I think C will give you some versatility. Again, square face, you're gonna have plenty of bounce, so if you hit something a little more full, it's not gonna be super diggy. But when you get around the greens and you need to start to play around with face angle, it's gonna get that leading edge down, but still have enough bounce.
Let's try to go a little bit further with this one. Oh, be good. Oh, Joey. Okay.
We did an intro video of SP with our players, like a first look at the players. And I mean, Miles can attest, I don't think anybody in their first shot got it to within 10 feet. Everybody was coming up like 10 feet short. Yeah. Because they were like, whoa.
Like I hit that and I was like, man, this is gonna look real good on camera. And then it stopped 6 inches from where it landed. That's cool.
Yeah, the 60s. And then the one thing I wanted to talk about with you was, because I love this, like we talked about how the shapes of Opus and SP in the scoring club. So like, 54 and higher. Similar shape to Opus. Yeah. Just a new revamped CG and groove package. But when you start to get down into like the 52s, the 50s, and the 48s, you'll definitely notice a change in look. Okay. So the idea was to pair these with a set of irons a little bit more. So instead of having that rounded toe, kind of looks more like a sand wedge as a 50. These blend wonderfully in a set. You'll see the toes a little bit sharper, a little bit higher. It looks kind of more like some of those 11 irons that we've made in some of our TCBs and I love that because I think it's a proper blend.
It kind of makes you more comfortable as you get into your iron set. As you go up in whatever your gapping is from that point, it's a little bit more like you feel like this is a little bit more creative, right? Like I can still do a bunch of shots with this 56. Yeah. But then going into the 50. This now makes me feel like on a full shot, I've got a little bit more comfort to just go into the turf the normal way with an iron versus like trying to be a little bit more fancy with the wedges.
It's not, because that's kind of the line you're trying to figure out. Do I want my 50 to be like a pitching and chipping club, or do I need it to be like a scoring wedge from the fairway? Yeah, like for me, this is a perfect balance.
Yeah, this is full send or no send for me on the gap wedge for sure. Like I very rarely am taking anything off a gap wedge shot. I'm trying to learn, but very rarely. All right, I'm dying to hit this 56 actually. Let's hit a couple of these a little bit further if we can. So what's your conversation usually with players moving into a 56 that felt so good? Jeez. So moving into the sand wedge, what's the conversation that you'll usually have with a player, right? So we talk about the 60. I think you very early saw how I use my 60. How do you get the right 56 or 54, whatever it is, for that player into their bag?
So the one thing I've noticed on tour is the 58 or 60, whatever their highest lofted, is more predominantly the most used club, like by far. Like guys just aren't chipping with their 56 or 52s like they used to. Now some still do, and there are shots that call for it, but it has definitely become the higher lofted has become the primary pitching and chipping club. So with this, we're gonna go look at turf interaction on more of a full shot. Okay. But if they tell me like, oh no, I chip and pitch a lot, then we'll start playing around with the grinds, because we do have all the options here as well. But that's a S grind there, and that looks good through the turf.
Yeah,
I'm looking at
easy too.
We get into the 52s and 56s. You're just looking at like more full shots.
Yeah.
You know, like full shots is in like 60 to 90% speed, which is basically where guys live in their wedges on tour.
Yeah, for sure.
But less guys are chipping with those clubs, so
Yeah.
it seems like the fit happens kind of around here.
Yeah.
And then obviously they'll pitch some with it, but it's that 58 or 60
Yeah.
is where a lot of time
Yeah.
and fitting comes in with the grind.
So how do you like to handle the bunker conversation? So like it's funny, I'm the opposite in bunkers. I don't like speed in the bunker because I get all thin in the bunker because of that. So I have a higher bounce 56, and I like to just be super even tempoed, kind of 1-to-1 in a bunker, and just let the loft get it out for me. So it usually changes a little bit of what I'm gonna do with that club, because outside of that one right there was 85 according to Foresight. Makes sense. That's about the easiest I would hit that club. Anything past that is like I'm going harder.
Yeah.
But then also into a bunker. So where would you go from that perspective, talking to the player about grind, and then like even I guess shaft choice at that point, like based on the iron shafts or the lob wedge?
So W grind, X grind, 56, you have that option. That's a great point. I mean, if you know the type of player you are, and you say, I want to be slower, not feel like I have to be fast in the bunkers, then you definitely went the right direction.
For higher bounce.
For higher bounce, yeah. Because then you get the luxury of hitting a little bit more behind it with that speed, where it comes out dead and rolls like a putt when it hits the green.
Yeah.
So you definitely moved in the right direction.
The one, whoa, oh. So then, with the set makeup, what are you seeing with the gap wedges? Because I know there's a couple of stories out there of guys being very specific with their gap wedge based on the guy that is a big pitcher with it, or the guy that's just big full swing. Obviously, we have the progressive shape now, which is super, super cool. But what are you guys doing as far as like geeky stuff out on tour for guys with that gap wedge, whether it's bending them or Y-angle stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had a cool story for you, but I mean, it's in that part of the bag, it seems very run-of-the-mill. I think because we spent so much time talking to these guys for the year leading up, I mean, it was actually a year and a half that Dean Takel spent with a bunch of guys on tour and just deep diving on wedges. Phone calls, on off weeks, tons of phone calls, on-site work of trying to dial in sole width and sole shape on the Opus. And so I think the kind of the geeky stuff happened kind of in the lead up to the design. So we don't do a lot of crazy stuff in that part of the bag. We have 48s, 50s, 52s, 54s. You might get a guy that wants a little less offset, a little more offset, so he might go on one side of it, strengthen or weaken to get there. But with Opus, it's been fantastic, and I think Opus SP is just going to kind of fall right in line too, because we spent so much time with these guys on tour finding out exactly what they wanted in every part of the wedge bag. Yeah. So it's kind of a lame answer, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it's just it's like as the product lines keep getting better and more focused on the feedback, and then obviously with you guys the algorithms now too with AI, I think it's just proof that the product's better, right? When you don't have to do all the geeky fun stuff that we like to talk about, but when you don't have to do that, it just means that the stock product that we can just buy in stores is just really, really good.
It's great for consumers to know that they're playing the same thing the tour guys are playing. It's great for our iron and wedge reps if they're not in there having to manipulate golf clubs. I mean, that's really where all of our grinds came from, is because we were, I remember the wedge rep we had a long time ago, he was every wedge creating a C grind. I was like, well, why don't we just make that? And then we did, and then that made his job a lot easier. So it's a lot of conversations, a lot of time spent with those guys have produced wedges that we don't have to do a ton of manipulating to, other than just your normal loft lies.
Awesome. The other thing I will say, they look very cool. I like, it's just very basic. It's very kind of classic. They also feel, I thought Opus felt good. These feel really, really good off the face. Like very, very affirmative feel, like super soft, but also like gives you like a nice, confident impact sound when you've hit it right. It feels great. What's
with the 50 and
been?
60, when you can really see like how much thicker, and it hides well. You don't see it at address position, but you can see where that CG was raised through the thicker wall on the toe flange. I love it because like hitting a wedge, I want the ball to feel heavy.
Yeah.
Because if the ball feels heavy, it's on the face longer. And I think SP has been great for that.
Cool. That's a really good way to put that, though, actually. I've never heard, like, the ball to feel heavier. Because I felt that. Like, now that you've said that, like, I felt that for sure. I've never heard that said that way, though. So that's really cool.
Because you think about, like, if you hit a wedge and it starts glancing because the CG's too low and the grooves aren't right, it's going to come off the face quick. So it's not on the face for very long. So you just don't really feel the hit as much.
It feels like you hit a practice ball.
Man, you get that face on the ball, or the ball in the face for a long time through the hitting area, you can definitely feel when it's on there longer, and it does. It feels like heavier.
Well, cool, man. I'm excited for these to come out. Definitely gonna rep a set and get them in there. So we're C grind. Probably, you think X grind if it's gonna be a bunker thing on the 56?
I would have you hit X and S before,
X and
or
S,
excuse me, X and W before making that decision.
Okay.
And S, there's more bounce on the S in the 56, so I think you're kind of in that range somewhere between those three.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then in the gap wedge, just
gap wedge S grind.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Standard.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. We're gonna hit some.
Let's go save some
irons
pars
now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We'll pretend this is a 600-yard par 5, and we just almost got it to the green. So these are all birdies.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Damn.